What's up, guys? This is Rich for another edition of Learning with Rich. So for today's topic, I'm going to teach you about keynotes. Okay, a keynote which can be found from your annotate tab. You can see there your keynote. Okay, a keynote parameter is available for all model elements, including detail components and materials. So you can tag each of these elements using a keynote tag family. So the keynote value is derived from a separate file or separate text file that contains a list of keynotes, which is what I'm going to show you later. So if an element already contains a value for a keynote, it displays in a tag automatically. So if not, you can select the keynote value directly. So Revit provides two sample text files for keynoting. And another thing, keynotes assigned, this is one good thing about Keynote. So keynotes assigned in a project are linked to their source keynote table. So when the keynote table is changed, the keynotes in the project will reflect the changes when the project is closed and reopened. Okay, so the default keynoting data provided in Revit, which is what I'm going to show you later, is based on the 1995 Construction Specification Institute or CSI Master Format System, which uses 16 divisions to organize construction process and materials. Okay, which is widely used in the United States. So I'm going to show you where is that. So this is where you can find your default keynote in Revit. Keynote is very important. Okay, if you want to convey information to your client, to your team members, or to the rest of the group, okay, you can put it on your construction documentation. So this is the reason why we are putting our keynotes. So I'm going to show you where is that located. So I'm going to open my D drive, and then I open my Autodesk. Okay, usually your libraries is saved in your C drive, but in my case, I always save that to my D drive. Okay, so you can see my libraries here, and then I can see here my US metric. So if I'm going to move this down, you can see there my Revit keynotes metric. So I'm gonna open this one. Okay, so this is the keynote. So as you can see, it has 16 divisions. Okay, so it has 16 division, and then these are the keynotes that is inside this division. Like for example, from 01 up to 015, you can find it inside the division 1. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. So I'm going to show you later how to load this keynote. Okay, so I'm going to close it now. Alright, so let us try to start our project. So let me just open a new project. I'm going to open a sample file so that all of you can open or do this exercise, because sample files is always available in your computer. So sample files. So let's say I'm going to use here my Revit MEP. Advanced Sample Project. You can also use your RAC for Revit Architecture or RST for Revit Structure. So this is general. So I use RME. Open. Okay, so it will now open the project. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is the preparation. So I'm going to set up a Revit file to use the Keynote tools. Okay, so I'm going to select the annotate here. So Keynote, I'm going to select the keynoting settings here. There you go. So the default Keynote is already loaded. So if you have your own Keynote, so you can just browse it, or you can also view it. So you can view. This is what I'm talking about, right? So you have the 16 divisions, and then these are the detailed keynote. Okay, right? So since it's already loaded, so I'm now going to select here OK. So it's now loaded. So let me just change my view to floor plan. Okay, let me just duplicate this one. Duplicate. Okay, so I'll just rename this one. This is my level 2 sample plan, or whatever name that you want. And then I will change this. Okay, I'll just click outside. So right click, I apply a template here. So I apply the coordination. Do we have coordination? Or let's say architectural plan. Okay. And then I'll just change the discipline here to coordination. Okay, and then yeah. Then it's, as you can see, the model here is being cropped. So I'm going to uncrop it. Okay, so this is now our model. Okay. So it shows us all the discipline. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do from the legends here, I'm going to create a keynote legend. So this is what we need. So a keynote legend. So you can change this, you can change the name. So I just select the keynote legend. So let's say this is my coordination keynote legend, and then okay. Okay, so I have here two fields, keynote value and then the keynote text. So I'll just use this. So I'm not going to change anything here. I'll just use the default settings and then I select OK. So there you go. So by default, of course, there's no value yet, right? Because I haven't placed my keynote, which is what I'm going to do next. Okay. So after that, I'll try to add now the keynote. So we have three types of keynotes here. So going back to my sample plan. So going to my annotate keynote. Okay, so I have three types of keynote here. The first one is this element keynote. So a keynote or an element keynote can be applied to an entire element, such as wall, detail component, or door, or your structural elements, or mechanical elements, or MEP elements. Okay, let's say for example this one. Just select modify. Alright, for example this. If I select this one, so you will notice they are just the same type, right? So they are having the same type of keynote. I mean of family. So it is the water closet, flash bulb, wall mounted. So I'm going to add a keynote here. So I select the keynote. So let's say I select element keynote. Okay, then I'm going to move my pointer here and I'm going to tag it. I'm going to place a keynote. Okay, and then you will see now your keynotes dialog box. And then you just need to select what is that keynote that you want. So let's say that is for my mechanical. I expand this one. I look for plumbing. Okay. So it's up to you. So let's say I'll just select plumbing fixtures and then OK. So it's now populated with that value. Okay. Now, if I'm going to move again to place another keynote to the same type, you will notice automatically it will now populate. Right? So it's now populated with the same type because they are just the same type. Okay, it's now populated with the same keynote. So let's say I'm going to place it here. I'm going to place another one here. There you go. Okay, so same with this. But if I'm going to place another one here, or let's say to my electrical here, or this one, I click this one. Okay, I place it, for example, here. There you go. So that's my electrical. Lighting. Okay, electrical power. And then okay. There you go. So I'm going to move my pointer here. So again, it will populate with keynote because one of the type having this type is already tagged. Okay, so that's why it's automatically populated. Oops, sorry. Okay, so let me just delete this. Alright, so keynote, element. Okay, let's say this one. I place it here. There you go. So that's how your element keynote works. Now, another type of keynote is material. Okay, material keynote can be assigned to a material. So make sure that the element where you are going to move your pointer to place your material keynote, make sure it has a material. Otherwise, you will not be able to place a material keynote. Okay, a material keynote can be assigned to a material that has been painted on a surface and to materials assigned to the component layers of the element. So material keynotes are not supported for the insulation drafting tool, the detailed components line, and field region or wireframe views. So you'll not be able to place it. So make sure, so when you use your material keynote, make sure it has a material. So just like this one, even the floor itself, you see the floor. So the mere fact that you are seeing the symbol of keynote here is that that particular area has a material. So if I'm going to move my pointer away, you will notice the keynotes box will not appear. But if I'm going to move that to an element that has a material, let's say for example this wall here, okay, so let's say I'll place it here, place, okay, so I can place here the material. So let's say that is my furnishing, okay, right, or let's say that's my concrete or whatever type value that you want. So I just select and then okay. So there you go. So again, if I'm going to move my pointer to the element with the same type as this one, just like this, you see it's just like your element keynote, it will also auto-populate. So let's say I'll place it here, place one here, place one here, okay, and then modify. So if I'm going to open the legend that we created earlier, our coordination keynote legend, it's now populated with values, you see, right? Okay, so automatically every time you place keynote, your coordination keynote legend is updated. So now I'm going back to my sample plan, and then I'm going to show you the third type. So the third type is your user keynote. Okay, this option provides a way to use commonly used notes or phrases to address documentation issues. So these additional user notes must be added to the provided keynote text file or included in one that you create. So let's say I select the user keynote. Alright, so I'm going to place a user keynote here. Place one here. Say that's my electrical, wherever is that. So you see, if I can place another user keynote with this one. Although this element and then this element, they are having the same type. But look, if I move my pointer, you will notice my user keynote is still blank. So meaning to say, you can create another keynote or custom keynote. It's up to you. Okay, what would that keynote be? Right? So you can just select any value. You see, so you can place another keynote on the same type of material, which is different from your element keynote and material keynote. So if you're in element keynote, it will auto-populate the keynote if one of the same type is already tagged. But if it is a user keynote, so let's say this one, place it here. So that is my mechanical, HVAC, or whatever is that. Okay, I select, okay. You see this one, oh. So it will not auto-populate, unlike your element keynote and material keynote. So although they have the same type, but you can still customize another keynote of your preference. Okay, so whatever is that. So you see, I can put different keynote, although they are the same element. So those are the three types of your keynote. Okay, so you have your what? Element keynote, material keynote, user keynote. Again, if I'm going back to my coordination, Keynote legend. Okay, so it's now populated with values. So let me say I'm going to create a new sheet here. I'm going to right click. I select the new sheet. Okay, I use the A0 metric and then okay. So let me just drag this floor plan inside. Alright. And then I can add my keynote. Legend. Alright, so this is my keynote. I can, I'll just place it here. Or wherever you like to place it. So it's up to you. So let's say I'm just going to place it here. There you go. So there's your keynote. Okay, so hopefully you can still follow. Again, you can pause the video, you can rewind it. Okay, and then you can try the exercise. Now, I'm going to teach you, let's say, oh, I have my own keynote. So how to create a keynote. Okay, how to create a keynote. Okay, so this is what you do. So if you're going to create a keynote, alright, so it should be a text file. So you can customize your keynote source file. Okay, so it should be a text file. So we will be using here a notepad. Okay, so I'm going to use my notepad. So I'm just going to create a very simple keynote. Okay, so I'll select the notepad here. Alright. And then the first thing that you are going to do, you specify the discipline. So in my case, I'm going to specify the discipline that I want. So let's say I want the architectural, enter, and my electrical, mechanical, plumbing, what else? Structural. Oops. So I'm going to teach you how to create your own keynote. Alright, so these are my disciplines. So I want per discipline. And then I press enter. Then enter again. Alright. Now, the next thing that you're going to do, you specify the code. Okay, the code. Just like this one, there's a code, right? So it can be numbers, it can be letters, or it can be alphanumeric. So let's say I'm going to base it on my architectural. So let's say A01. And then after that, the next thing that you're going to do, you are going to press tab. So let's say you finish typing your code. So the next thing that you're going to do, you need to press the tab. Okay? For the description of your keynote. So I'm going to press the tab. Alright? And then you just need to key in here what is the description of that keynote. So let's say whatever description that you want. So this is an example of keynote. Okay, so it's up to you, just play around. And then after you specify your keynote description, you press tab again. Tab. And then you key in the discipline for that. So let's say the discipline for that is my architectural. And then enter. Take note that if you are going to type a very long description, okay, make sure you format it. Make sure you check your word map. Okay, and then if you want to go to another line, do not press enter. So let's say you want to go to another line because your text is very long. You want to go to this line. You are going to press enter. Do not do that. Okay, you can just type your description. No matter how long is that, just make sure the format is checked. The word wrap format is checked. Okay, do not press enter to go to another line. Okay, you just continue typing. Alright. Alright, so I'm done with this. So let's say this is my A02. Again, tab. And then I'll just copy this one. Okay. Of course, you can customize the description. I'm just trying to make a simple one. This is another another example of keynotes. Alright, and then I press tab again. Tab, architectural. Okay. Now I want electrical, so maybe I'll just copy this. Then I enter. It's okay to enter after you finish your keynote. But again, if you're going to type your description, okay, it's okay. You type your very long keynote or description, it's okay. Just make sure the format is checked here. The word draft format is checked. But once you finish, you just press enter. Enter. Let's say E01. Oops, sorry. It should be tab. And then let's say this one. Copy. Okay, you see, I'm going to show you here a long text. So if your word wrap here is checked, you will notice automatically the notepad will go to the another line, right? Okay. So let's say I'm done. So you just press tab again, and then you put your discipline, for example, and then enter. So let's say for E02. Okay. So this is my E02. This is my electrical. Okay. Enter for my mechanical, for example. I'll just copy just to make this exercise fast. So this is M. It's up to you what is your code. Just make sure you base it based on your company standard. Okay. Alright, so that's my mechanical. And for my plumbing, okay, hopefully you can still follow. Okay, so plumbing, this is for my plumbing. Okay, then last for my structural. Okay, so structural, let's say this is S01, this is S02. Okay, you key in your discipline here is structural. Okay, you can create your own keynote. Alright, so after that, I'm now going to save it. I'll just save it here on my document. So let me just override my last keynote. So I just override, yes. Alright, then the next thing that I'm going to do, if I want to update my keynote here, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to select keynoting settings. Okay, and then I'm going to browse. Okay, or you can just reload if your new keynote is on the same folder, the same name. Let's say you just updated this one, but you did not change the location, so you can update, you can reload. But if you have another one, so you can just go to where you save it. Okay, open. I just close this one. Okay, no parent keynote structural. Oh, sorry, it's wrong spelling, so I'll just cancel first. Where is that? Is okay, this one. So it's structural. So the spelling is very important. So keynote, keynoting, browse my documents. Alright, this one, keynote, open, close. There you go. So it's now loaded. Okay. So as you can see, it's empty because I haven't done anything yet. Okay. So if I'm going to go back to my sample plan here, you notice it updates the numbers, but it's empty. Okay, because the keynote that is loaded in this exercise is not, different, so it's not this value anymore. So I'm going to my let me just remove first this one. So I go to the coordination keynote legend. So I'll just delete this. Delete, because I'm not going to need this. But, okay, if you do not want to delete, you just want to update the value. Okay, so I'm going to undo. Okay, so this is now my value, right? So going back to my sample plan, you don't want to delete that, for example, then you can just override it. Let's say I'll select this one. So you can change the keynote value here. So I can click that. Right, so for example, you see, this is now my keynote, right? This is the keynote that we just created. Okay, so let's say I select the long one. So this is the long one, right? So E01, so it will becomes E01. So let's say I'll change because I want to update the value. Okay, so you need to update it manually. Okay, or if you want, you can just re-tag it. Okay, just select any value that you want. Okay, just select any value that you want. Alright. Just please bear with me. So this exercise is a bit long, but you will learn from this. Okay. So I select, let's say that is my E02. Let's say this is my electrical, let's say my plumbing. Alright. Else. So all updated. Okay, so now if I go back to my coordination keynote legend, okay, you notice it's now updated. Right? So if I go back to my sheets here, the one that I created, where is that? Is this the one? Yeah, so this one. So I'll just move this up. I just adjust this one. There you go. So your keynote is now updated. So if ever you change your keynote here, let's say I'll remove this. Okay, I remove this one. So I remove. So you just do some changes to your keynote. And then what are you going to do? So you just need to update it again. Just reload the latest. So let's say I'll save this one. Okay, and then you just need to reload the latest. Keynoting settings, just reload. And then okay. And then once you select okay, so it's now updated. Alright? So that's how you use your keynote. I know you guys have your own keynote. Now you can apply that to your Revit. Okay, so just remember the way of creating our keynote. You can specify there the discipline, the code. After you type the code, so make sure you press tab. Then you type your description. Then again you tab. Then you type the discipline that you want. And make sure the format here is the word wrap format is checked. Okay. Alright, so that's how you do it. So if I'm going to view my keynote, there's a view here. So this is how it looks like. Okay. Alright. Okay. So it's alphabetically arranged. Okay. So again, hopefully you learned something from this video. So if you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, you can just put it on the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Don't forget to subscribe to my blog site. The link is included to the description of this video. Okay. So I hope this has been helpful to you. So you just tell your friends that that my channel is existing. So you just tell them to subscribe to my channel. And I'm going to create more videos for you guys. So once again, this is Rich from Learning with Rich. You all stay beautiful and handsome. Bye bye.